curriculum here.
They bring their own.
That they get the British system, they bring it to Luzira.
Yes.
They teach the African children the British system.
Yes.
Yes.
The Montessori, when it goes to Britain, it teaches the children of Britain the British system.
Yes.
Correct. And I like your chameleon metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when a chameleon starts, you know, when it is
comes
there,
to green,
it's
it
green.
turns green.
It's green.
When it gets
Comes to
down
brown,
here
it
and
turns
starts
brown.
walking there, it will be brown.
Yeah.
Survival instinct.
It is a survival instinct.
Now,
And you know, something about the Montessori, how it came about. I'll be very brief about this. It was started by Maria Montessori. By the way, they made her a saint.
She was Catholic.
She was Catholic, and she came up during fascism, during the times of Mussolini.
hey,
Yes.
the most brutal man.
The most brutal man. That's
Mussolini.
what they say. Yes. So what happened was back then in Italy, women were not considered to become doctors because she's Dr. Maria Montessori. So when she graduated from university, she was given a job which was considered to be the lowest jobs. So they put her in a class of, according to that society, were retarded children who could not compete with the method that everybody was doing. 10 years later, these children who sat an exam with the same people who were considered higher, they excelled. 10 years after that, these are people who are going into the world to work and everything.
And they're excelling. They're doing
And
better.
they're excelling, they have freedom. And during fascism, they wanted people to believe in one thing. So they were wondering, who is teaching these children how to have freedom of speech, how to be independent? And they said it's Maria Montessori. So they chased her.
Free your mind now. Be part of the People's Pan-African Parliament. The Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
The Pan-African Pyramid Weekly Roundtable with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe. This is a weekly Pan-African Pyramid show that actually captures the continent and the world at large, looking at the issues in a Pan-African context. And this morning I'm privileged. I am not sitting at my usual place. I am seated at the home of one of the recipients of the 2024 cohort of the Pan-African Pyramid Global Awards, Miss Auma Ogola, Edith. She's a Kenyan working and living in Uganda. Very nice to meet you, Auma. This is my third time being hosted here.
Yes, and you're always welcome.
And I think by the routine of my coming tells you that I am very happy.
Karibu sana.
Yes. Thank you. You can say hi to our viewers.
Hello viewers, welcome to the show today. We are in Butabika, Kampala.
I hope we are not mad.
Not in the madhouse,
Hey.
not at the madhouse, but Butabika. Karibuni sana.
Thank you so much. And of course, on the extreme, after Miss Auma is Professor Jeremiah Ogwang Humphrey. No, he told me to call him Professor
Ojuang.
Humphrey
Jeremiah.
Ojuang.
Yes.
He's also from Nairobi, Kenya. He was here for, I think now he has made the week in Kampala. And he had come to answer to my 1-year-old invitation for him to receive his well-deserved Pan-African Award. And I think you can see it right here. It's in front of him. And the medal. Professor Ojuang, I'm happy also to host you in Kampala once again.
Thank you very much, my brother Andrew, and my sister Edith Auma Ogola, who has generously accepted, allowed us to use her garden, and I'm told this area is called Luzira.
Butabika.
Luzira.
Butabika, and the larger unit
Luzira.
of area is Luzira. Luzira is famous
Why?
even in Kenya because we always say about Luzira maximum security prison. But I'm not in prison. I'm in my sister Auma Ogola's compound in her garden, and I'm with my brother Andrew Irumba, the speaker of PAP.
Pan-African Pyramid.
Very good.
Pan-Africa Pyramid. So I'm so privileged to be in their company here in Luzira area of Kampala, Uganda.
Thank you. When you hear Ogola Edith Auma, there is, I think, some history behind her mother in regards to a school here.
Yes.
I don't know whether she has taken time to take you through that history of her family.
Yes, we have shared because she has a history like mine. Her mother was a teacher, and so was my mother. So my mother taught lower primary classes, and her mother taught lower primary classes.
Yeah.
And she has told me that her mother was a specialized Montessori expert. And she was also diversified. She told me her mother was a community nurse, a qualified community nurse. My mother was a dressmaker as well as being a teacher. She was a choir director. Yes, so I think that we have a common heritage. She's Luo from Kenya, but now Ugandan.
Yeah, Ugandan.
And I am Kenyan Luo, but I wouldn't mind being Ugandan Luo as well.
Yeah.
Because this is a very beautiful
You have
country.
started the initiation.
Yes.
Ouma is initiating you now.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I just wanted that little history about her family.
Yeah.
And it's very important. One time we sat and she explained to me the contribution of her mother in the education of not just her, but the Kenyans.
Yeah.
And the Africans, and they were so moved. I think someday, who knows, I will try to convince our team to also find the space to recognize her mother. When you look at a woman, something tells you that there is a strong woman behind her. Something tells you that there is a strong woman. She must have grown up through some strong hands.
Yeah.
And that's the mother.
That's the
Yes.
mother. When she told me, I didn't even know this history of the Montessori school education system, and she initiated it.
Yeah.
So someday we will have an independent discussion on the life of you and your mother.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor Ojwang. This show is dedicated to you because you spent some time, now a week in Kampala, to come and add value to the Pan-African agenda. So I decided to dedicate this show to you. And your daughter here, your sister, will be contributing, but the show belongs
To you.
to you
Thank you.
As
Thank you so much. I feel honored.
as an honor. And since your expertise is in epistemology, so I want us this morning to talk about African epistemology,
Yeah.
because that's your area. African epistemology is the study of how knowledge is understood, produced, validated, and transmitted within African philosophical traditions. It examines the foundations of knowledge from an African worldview, often in contrast with Western epistemology. Key features of African epistemology is communal orientation. Knowledge in African traditions is often seen as communal rather than individual. Truth and wisdom are validated through collective experience, consensus, and cultural practices rather than purely abstract reasoning. Sometimes the Western world want to use reasoning only. They just want to reason without without considering other factors. Now, in African context, your father can even wrong you, and everybody sees that it's a mistake.
But
your
you can't
father has
say-
wronged you, but you say it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You let the father take the day. So in the Western world, they tell the child, go and report your father, and your father must serve a sentence. So I think you see the difference. Then orality and tradition. Oral traditions, proverbs, folk tales, songs, and rituals serve as central vehicles of knowledge. Unlike Western traditions that privilege written text, African epistemology gives primacy to memory, oral transmission, and lived practice. Then there is also holism. Knowledge is not fragmented into separate disciplines, but integrated into the whole of life, linking the spiritual, moral, social, and practical dimensions. Understanding is tied to how knowledge contributes to harmonious living. Experiential and practical emphasis. Truth is often judged by its practical consequences. What works in sustaining life, community, and balance. Knowledge is deeply tied to lived experience rather than detached theory. Rationality and personhood. In many African traditions, knowledge is inseparable from relationships between people, nature, and the spiritual world. The famous dictum is I am because we are, Ubuntu, underpins how knowledge is approached through interconnectedness. Spiritual dimension. Unlike secular Western epistemology, African thought often integrates the spiritual or metaphysical as a valid source of knowledge. Dreams, divinations, and ancestral wisdom are considered legitimate forms of knowing. And finally, the philosophical implications. African epistemology challenges Eurocentric assumptions that knowledge must be objective, detached, and universally applicable. Instead, it emphasizes context, culture, and lived reality, offering a more relational and life-centered approach to truth. I wanted to bring that as our foundation of our debate today. So I wanted the listeners and the viewers to understand what epistemology, African epistemology, means and entails. So I will be listening to you, Professor, because that is your area. So let's start from there. African epistemology.
African epistemology.
Maybe I should begin by asking you to explain the university where you are touched and so on, so that people can understand.
Yes.
Where do you sell this knowledge?
Okay, thank you very much. I have a long history
Yes.
in education in Kenya and outside Kenya. I went to Kamagambo Primary School, and that is in southern Nyanza. Then I went to Mbita High School, still in southern Nyanza, in the county of Homa Bay, on the shores of Lake Victoria. Then I went to Maseno School for my A-levels, what we call A-levels, or called A-levels at that time, and that is still in Nyanza, Kisumu County, right on the equator, right on the equator. The only school in the world which has the equator passing through
The school.
the center.
Latitude
The
zero.
equator passes through the
Through
school.
the school,
Yes.
so we used to go for classes in the southern hemisphere, and we would go and sleep in our dormitories
In the
the
north.
northern hemisphere. So we enjoyed the two worlds of southern hemisphere
And
the northern hemisphere. So I don't know whether we belong to the global south or the global north, because I don't know where the global north starts and the global south starts. But that is just an introduction. After that, I went to Kenyatta University College, where I took a degree in education and my teaching subject
the nature.
was English. And that by English, I mean English language and literature in English. So I trained as a graduate teacher of English. So I taught high school, Kisumu Boys High School, Kisumu Girls High School. I went back to my alma mater, Maseno School. By the way, Maseno was started by the Church Missionary Society.
1901.
Church Missionary Society, 1906. And a lot of Kenyans, important Kenyans, went through Maseno School. We followed in their footsteps, and one of them was the first vice president of the Republic of Kenya, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the father of the former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. We always give him as an example because he became critical in the independence struggle in Kenya in the 1940s, 1950s, and 1960s when Kenya became an independent country in 1963. So, after Maseno, I trained teachers at Migori Teachers College, and then I taught English at Mombasa Polytechnic, which is today known as Technical University of Mombasa, and then Kenya Polytechnic, which is today known as Technical University of Kenya. I then went to the United Kingdom, England to be precise, and enrolled for a master's degree at the University of Aston in Birmingham, England. I was a British Council scholar, so they were training me to sharpen my skills in the teaching, in applied linguistics and the teaching of English, but in higher education, in technical institutions like the Kenya Polytechnic, the then Kenya Polytechnic, which is today the Technical University of Kenya. Upon my return to Kenya, I took up a new job, teaching job at the University of Nairobi, College of Education and External Studies. That is at Kikuyu campus. I stayed there for 13 years, and after that, I moved from the College of Education to the Institute of African Studies, which now locates what your interest is. Within the Institute of African Studies, we were keen on anthropology. In my case, I was now handling linguistics and anthropology. That's the interconnection between language, culture, and society. And I was the thematic unit head. I held the position of senior research fellow and thematic unit head of linguistic anthropology. The Institute of African Studies evolved into a wider, they widened the scope, which included anthropology, gender, and African studies, because we have been engendering education and scholarship in Kenyan higher education. I believe it's happening in Uganda as well, because when I visited Makerere, I noticed that they have a school of gender, of women and gender studies. So in Nairobi we had the Institute of African Studies, which became an Institute of Anthropology, and Anthropology, Gender and African Studies, and now it has been turned into a department.
Actually, remember last week at that university, at Makerere University, at that department, you met the Minister of Gender.
Yes.
Yes.
Honorable Peace Mutuzu.
Yes, I did. I met the minister.
The right person in the right place.
Yes, the Honorable Dr. Peace Mutuzu.
Regis Mutuzu. Did you know the third name, Regis?
Yeah, she gave me her name and her contact. The Ugandan Minister of State granted me audience, and she's called Dr. Peace Regis Mutuzo, Minister of State for Gender and Culture in the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development in the Republic of Uganda. She serves in the government of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And she told me that she comes from Toro Kingdom.
Yes.
And to be precise, Fort Portal
Bunyangabu district.
and Bunyangabu district.
She is the woman MP.
She's the woman.
She's actually my member of parliament.
Yeah, representing women's interests.
In the Bunyangabu district.
Yes.
And that is my district.
Thank you. I am now, you are the second Mtoro.
Yes.
I'm meeting the first one. No. I met you before I met her.
Yes.
So she becomes the second Mtoro I'm meeting. Of course, I've met Ugandans from other communities. So, where do we go from here? So, from English to African studies, let's put it like that. And African studies is a multidisciplinary area in Kenya. When I visited Makerere University, and I stayed there for a couple of days, I visited various departments, including the Department of Performing Arts and Film. I've realized that Makerere has reorganized its departments depending on the new innovations in curriculum which they are offering. They used to have School of Music, Dance and Drama. MDD. But that has now been reorganized.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. I met the head of that department. There's a reason why. I also went to the Makerere Institute of Social Research, which started off as the East African Institute of Social Research in 1948. So it's quite an old institute.
Yeah.
And they're largely anthropological in orientation, just like my former Institute of African Studies, which is largely anthropological in orientation. Now, why am I giving that background? Because my approach to knowledge is holistic and transdisciplinary. Because knowledge cannot be compartmentalized. You see, knowledge must be seen in an integrative system, as an integrative system. So I noticed that at Makerere, they have that specialized institute. It's still going strong. It's now called Makerere Institute of Social Research. It's a specialized research area in that university, and I realized that they have now introduced taught master's and PhD programs. Taught, which means there's coursework, and then there is dissertation or thesis. Yes, which is similar to what is happening at the University of Nairobi. Now, I was at the University of Nairobi until 2 years ago, 2.5, going to 3 years ago, and then I moved on to have other experiences, and owing to other factors, I was honored in the year 2003 by Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences.
Muhimbili, that's Dar es Salaam,
Tanzania. In Dar es Salaam.
Of course, from Kenya to Tanzania.
Yes.
You have bypassed Uganda.
I've bypassed Uganda, but I hope to catch up with Uganda later.
Okay.
So they gave me a very high honor as an honorary professor in the Institute of Traditional Medicine at Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences. And I have been helping them to establish what they will call the East African Center of Excellence. East African Center of Excellence for indigenous knowledge and healing systems. Indigenous knowledge and healing systems. Now, it is a specialized university which used to be part of the University of Dar es Salaam. But now an autonomous university with its own charter. So Muhimbili is now a full-fledged university. But Muhimbili Hospital, Mulago Hospital, Muhimbili Hospital, and Kenyatta National Hospital. These are the national hospitals in the three territories of the old East African community, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Now, they are teaching hospitals. Muhimbili is a teaching hospital. Mulago is a teaching hospital and a referral hospital. And Kenyatta is a teaching and referral hospital. So I'm building up towards knowledge, because that is what you started with. So the three countries of East African community, or regional East African community, they are sister countries. The universities are sister universities. And up to 1970, there was only one university in East Africa, and it was called the University of East Africa. Makerere was a constituent university college. Nairobi was a constituent university college, and Dar es Salaam was a constituent university college. So I see myself as an East African. I see myself as an East African, and I can operate across the borders. Yes, but of course we now have other members of the East African community. We have Rwanda, which joined, then Burundi joined, then South Sudan joined, then Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo also joined, and more recently, Somalia, the Federal Republic of Somalia also joined. So we have 8 member states of the East African community. But my emphasis is not just East African community. My emphasis is African Union, and of course African studies. I can see you're wearing African Union colors, and so I believe I'm also wearing the African Union colors. So African studies, that's what I'm emphasizing. Very, very important, African studies. So what is the knowledge base of African studies? What is the knowledge base? What are the contributing disciplines and sub-disciplines towards African studies? Now, you asked me the question of African epistemology. I want to expand it.
That's where we are going now.
Yes, I want to expand it to refer to African narrative epistemology.
African
narrative epistemology. I have added narrative.
Narrative is yours.
Yes, I've added. I've edited. I've edited your concept. I've expanded it. Kidogo. Kidogo means small. Yeah.
I also know some Kidogo Kiswahili. Don't think you can backbait me.
Yeah, Ugandans are catching up. Well, the Tanzanians are ahead.
I'm multilingual.
Yes.
Linguistic.
Yeah, Tanzanians are ahead, Kenyans follow, and Ugandans are coming a distant third.
Why did you have to add a distant third?
It's because Rwanda...
I am a linguist. I can speak multiple languages.
Yes, because Rwanda is doing better.
Rwanda?
Yes, in Swahili, and Burundi is doing better in Swahili, and Eastern DRC. So, but there's an uptick of Swahili in Uganda, courtesy Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the president, because he went to school in Dar es Salaam and he acquired that language.
But you see, in Uganda, why we are not taking Swahili so fast like other countries, there are two issues. One is that Swahili used to be used by thieves, condos, people who would break into our homes, rape women, steal everything. They would be speaking Kiswahili. they could not speak in any other language. So that was the first identifier that these are Kondos.
Yeah, but that attitude has now changed.
Yeah.
Some of us still have it. Number two, all these rebel groups who taunted Ugandans, all of them
Swahili speaking.
Swahili. So it is a language, but also now, like me, a Pan-African, I look at Swahili as a colonial language because it is not ours. It was introduced along the coastal lines for those people to communicate. Am I lying?
It is, but you know,
Swahili.
Swahili.
It is, but then
Swahili is African because it's 80% Bantu languages. So the aspects of any outside influence were mostly in religion, law, and finance. Like most of the words in religion, Pasaka, Askofu, and then for money, even how we count. So it is an African language. It is an African language. That's why I think it's been adapted easier than any other language in Africa, because now, as Pan-Africanists, we've been looking for a general language continent-wide, and that one unifying factor is Swahili, because people in Mozambique speak Swahili. There are Bantus in Southern Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Angola. They have a language that very closely relates to Swahili. So I believe it's that one language. It's not a colonial one.
Yes.
Of course, it came during slave trade and all, which is a bad past. Yes.
Yes. And I want to support her by saying that, fine, Swahili was spread in Eastern and Central Africa because of the interaction between the east coast of Africa and the Arab world, and probably India, but more so the Arab world, the Omani Arabs who conquered Eastern African coast. They set base in Zanzibar, and last year I had the privilege of visiting Zanzibar, the slave market.
Yeah.
When you go there, you can feel traumatized, although these things happened centuries ago. So Swahili was the language of trade.
Humans.
They were trading in human beings. So the black person, the black man, the black woman, the black child were commodities. I visited Bagamoyo and I entered the dungeons, the slave dungeons of Bagamoyo. And they are horrible structures where people are thrown in before they were transported in dhows to Zanzibar. And then from Zanzibar they could be shipped to different parts of the world. And I visited the Anglican Cathedral in Zanzibar, the Stone Town. That's what it is called, the Stone Town. So where Christ Church, which is actually the cathedral, the Anglican Cathedral of the island of Zanzibar. It's a large church. It was built on the grounds of the slave market.
Yeah.
And there are statues of slaves with chains around their necks. And when you stand there and you watch those statues, you feel horrible. Now, Swahili, as she rightly says, is a Bantu language. The grammar is Bantu, but lexicologically, yes, it's about 25 to 30% from Arabic. Why? Because the Omani Arabs ruled the east coast of Africa for over 1,000 years. And during slave trade, the east coast of Africa was the springboard into the hinterland of Tanganyika, parts of Kenya. They even came to Buganda or Uganda. They reached Rwanda, they reached Burundi, through Rwanda, Burundi, Tanganyika, up to Congo, deep in the Congo. So in eastern Congo, Bukavu, Goma, they speak Swahili. And in northern Tanzania, they speak Swahili. Burundi, they speak Swahili. Parts of Malawi, they speak Swahili.
Mozambique.
And Mozambique, northern Mozambique. So, what are we saying? It was the language of trade, and the trade was dehumanizing.
Yeah.
So, that dehumanizing aspect of that trade, which was using Swahili as the language of trade, the lingua franca of the region, gave it that negative image, and that is what probably that is probably what was expressed later in the Ugandan society, because later it was picked by what you call condos, or thieves, or thugs, or soldiers who might have brutalized the local populations. So in Uganda, you already had Luganda and other mainstream languages like Rutoro, Runyankore, and these kingdoms, the Bantu kingdoms in Uganda, or Lusoga, or Rushiga, and the other one, Bunyoro Kitara. What language do they speak there? Runya Kitara, or Runyoro. So those languages, yes, Runyoro, Rutoro, yes, yeah, but those are sister languages. They're almost dialects of the same language. So those languages served in those kingdoms pretty well. You are well served with those languages. But Swahili came because of influences of the East Coast. Because in Kampala, I saw a very big mosque within Makerere campus. At the gate, as you get into Makerere to the right, there's a very big mosque. But I noticed that it looked a fairly new building. It's a recent building. When I went to the main administration block at Makerere, I noticed that there were two chapels. When you stand in front looking at the building, to the right is the Anglican chapel. This is St. Francis. Then to the left is, as you look at the front part of the building, the administration block, then to the left is the Catholic chapel, which is St. Augustine. So those are older buildings. I walked inside them. I went to both, and I said my prayers in both, as you know, as a way of absorbing the spiritual atmosphere of Makerere University. But at the gate, there's a mosque, and it was a Friday, and they were saying their prayers at 12. You know, loudspeakers and all that. Now, when I discussed this with another professor, he told me that, look, Buganda Kingdom, which is where Makerere sits, was under the reign or rulership of the Kabaka. And the Kabakas of Buganda welcomed the three major religions. You have Rubaga for Catholic, and then you have two other.
Nakasero for Anglicans.
Yes, Namirembe for Anglicans, and then the third one for Muslims is?
Kibuli.
So, yeah, so those three hills in Makerere, in Kampala, are significant symbolically of the influences from Europe and from
the Middle East.
The so-called Middle East, which is actually the Arab world, the Islamic Middle East, the Islamic world. And that's what Professor Ali Mazrui, who was at the at Makerere University as a professor of political science and public administration, that's what he called the triple heritage. So Uganda has a triple heritage. The reason Swahili is gaining ground in Uganda today, I'm now talking as a linguistic anthropologist, is the influence of Tanzania. The war between Tanzania and Uganda, the war against Idi Amin, when Idi Amin attacked Kagera salient in Tanzania, then Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere said, oh, we will fight all other wars, battles, but on Ugandan soil. And the Tanzanian soldiers, together with the Ugandan freedom fighters who wanted to dislodge Amin, they combined forces, and the soldiers marched from Masaka and Mbarara into central Uganda, all the way north to northern Uganda, and Idi Amin escaped from Uganda to Libya and eventually to Saudi Arabia. Now, the Tanzanian soldiers remained in Uganda for between 2 and 3 years, training the nascent Uganda National Liberation Army, which was the embryo of because Amin's army disintegrated. So they had to build a new army. And the Tanzania People's Defense Forces had to train the new army, which was emerging after the disintegration of Idi Amin's army. So during that time, the Tanzanians spoke to the local people in Swahili. And the local people embraced them and accepted them. So you see, so that helps to change the attitude. So it became the language of soldiers. The soldiers in Uganda picked it from their colleagues from Tanzania. And you will notice that the president of the Republic of Uganda is a fluent speaker of Swahili. Why? 2 reasons. He went to college, or university for that matter, in Tanzania. He's a graduate of the University of Dar es Salaam. And he speaks fluent Swahili. So when he's in Kenya, he addresses the crowds in fluent Swahili. In Tanzania, he does the same. And don't forget that President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni also joined the Frelimo fighters in Mozambique. And the soldiers in Mozambique also use Swahili because they are from different ethnic groups. They need a unifying language. So in spite of the slave history, in spite of the Arab influence and that negative aspect of the history of Swahili as a language, attitudes have changed because there are new dynamics.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is why Auma was telling me that for her A-levels in Uganda, because she went to school here in Uganda, she didn't go to school, to high school in Kenya. She came here to Uganda. A lot of Kenyan students come to study in Uganda for their secondary schools and even A-levels.
Yeah.
That is advanced certificate and so on. She was telling me about her experience here in Uganda, and she studied Swahili.
Yeah.
Here in Uganda, I think she can say something about
Yes. For HSC, we were offering 3 subjects, but I chose to pick a 4th one. So my combination was history, where I did paper 3 and 6, literature, paper 1, 2, and 3, and then divinity, and then Swahili. So in Swahili, there was also 3 papers. There was fasihi, which is literature in Swahili. Then there was poetry, and then there was plays. So I was telling him that we had
Which school was this?
Mbale SS and Nabumali.
Nabumali, Mbali.
Yes, in Mbale. I was just
You even know
some Lugisu.
Lugisu.
Yes.
And you resemble Bagisu also.
If you find her in Mbale,
Yeah.
you can't discriminate.
Really? So we the Swahili, we did translations. In poetry, that was paper 3, we did Wimbo wa Lawino, which is a book by a Ugandan, Okot Pibitek, which was translated to Swahili. And for plays, we did Mabepari wa Venice, which is a translation of Shakespeare's book by Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. So you can see Swahili was being taught at high levels.
And still being taught.
And still being taught, because I kept doing it even when I went to campus.
To come back to
Epistemology.
we want to come back to
Epistemology.
epistemology.
Well, you can still tie Swahili to epistemology.
Yes.
In the sense that epistemology touches on all subjects.
Yes.
Because what is epistemology? You gave us the background. But I want to put it in simple terms. Epistemology is the philosophy of knowledge. You can say philosophy of knowledge. Or you can even say the theory of knowledge. Theory of knowledge. Now, what do you mean by theory of knowledge? Trying to understand different ways of knowing. When you say, I know that, and I know how, what's the difference? I know that this is a trophy. I know that this is a trophy, and this trophy was given to me as an award by the Pan-African Pyramid Global Awards 2024. And my category, I know that my category is or was African veteran educationist and environmentalist. I know that. Now, I have a little bottle of, I think this was prepared by our sister Auma, Edith Auma Ogola.
Hey, Auma has prepared for us juice.
Yeah,
Yes, so you can have this. So, yes. And I like this.
So
color.
I know that this juice was prepared by Auma.
Yes.
I know that.
And I know that this is for drinking.
Yes, you know that. Because
Yeah.
she brought it and she expects us to drink it. Eh?
Yeah.
I know.
But there's another knowing.
Come on, you can take some juice.
Do you know how to prepare this juice?
No, I'm saying you can also serve yourself. It's okay, give her.
Give me the one. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So, I know how, okay?
Okay, how to prepare it.
I know how,
Prepare.
or Auma knows
How to prepare
how to prepare
this juice.
this fruit juice. I don't know what went into it. Tell us the recipe.
It's carrot, passion fruit, ginger, and dragon fruit.
Dragon, what is dragon fruit?
You see, you don't know how, but she knows how.
I don't know dragon. Others I know. What is dragon?
It's a reddish fruit that is associated with China, but it's growing very well in Uganda.
So it's quite a mixed drink. It's
Yeah.
like it's a punch,
Even
isn't it?
yeah, and a little bit of pomegranate.
Puma?
Pomegranate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know how.
I know that
and-
I'm drinking, but I don't know what I'm drinking.
You see them.
So-
I still have.
so
I'll
knowing.
show you. Yeah.
We are dealing with knowing. So there is propositional knowledge. Propositional knowledge is when you say, I know that. And then there is procedural knowledge. Procedural knowledge is, I know how. I know how. That's why they talk about know-how. We have our cameraman here. He knows how. So he has know-how. He knows how to capture this session, record this session, and archive whatever recordings which will
consumable.
come out of this session. So he has know-how. And you remember you were telling me that He can do so many different things with the camera. He is media oriented. He can do so many things with the camera. So he is multi-talented as far as photography is concerned, or videography for that matter. So I am making it very simple. Procedural knowledge and propositional knowledge. Now, propositional knowledge deals mainly with I know that, but procedural knowledge deals with I know how.
Okay.
Now, these two approaches can be captured under epistemology. So epistemology is one of the branches of philosophy. But we also have other branches of philosophy, like logic, like ethics, like phenomenology, like did I say ethics and,
Yes.
and metaphysics? Metaphysics.
Yeah.
We have under philosophy, ontology, all those. But in this particular context, we are focusing on knowledge. That's what you are interested in. And I added narrative. You are interested in African epistemology, but I've added African narrative epistemology. Why am I saying African narrative epistemology? Narrative is storytelling. Narrative is storytelling. Then African gives us our black identity on this continent and in the diaspora. When I talk of the diaspora, I'm referring to black Americans, I'm referring to black Brazilians, I'm referring to black people from Guyana, I'm referring to black people from Trinidad and Tobago, from Suriname. All these people who are taken away from Africa, transplanted from Africa, and replanted in the Caribbean islands and in North America, and of course in the Arab world. So they are African diaspora. Diaspora means away from home.
Yeah.
Away from home, the home continent, the home country. So their narratives are the stories they tell. Those of us who remained in Africa, we also tell our stories. Now, when the European colonizer came, they removed what you knew and planted what they wanted you to know, so that you could be a compliant colonial subject. Now, as a Pan-Africanist movement, I know that you're interested in decolonizing the mind. So Ngugi wa Thiong'o talked of decolonizing the mind. Okotbi talked of Africa's cultural revolution, and of course decolonization of the mind. Taban Leong and several others at the University of Nairobi in the 1970s, when they were Africanizing the curriculum, not just at the University of Nairobi, but also the East African Examination Council, which administered the exam I took. My certificate is East Africa. The headquarters of the East African Examination Council was situated in Kampala, Uganda. And the executive secretary of that council was a Muganda called BP Kiwanuka. Yes. So we took the same exams as Ugandans. We took the same exam as Tanzanians, both O and A level. But later, each country developed Uganda Examination Board, Kenya National Examination Council, and of course the Tanzanian Examination Council. You know, when the East African community was disintegrating. Because by
So
1987...
In the years, the entire East Africa had one examination center.
Yes, and history, the timetable would be one, printed from Kampala, not Nairobi, not Dar es Salaam. And
Kampala was the center.
Kampala was the headquarters. of the East African Examinations Council.
Hey.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's why I know so much history about Uganda, because we took a course. There's a book by Gideon S. Were on East Africa through 1,000 years. I learned about Bunyoro Kitara. I learned about Toro Kingdom, your kingdom, where you come from. I learned about Busoga Kingdom. I learned about Sir Apollo Kagwa. I learned about Semei Kakunguru
Hey.
and Kabalega and Daudi
Mukama of Bunyoro Kitara Empire.
Empire. The great Kabalega. I learned about
Daudi Chua.
Kabaka Mwanga.
Kabaka Mwanga and Daudi Chua, who became an infant king.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have been to Kasubi.
Kasubi Royal Tomb.
Yes, before, and I want you to take me back there when we get the time after this interview. So the Uganda and Kenya, you know, a lot of Kenyan students came to Uganda in the 1940s and 50s, not to Makerere but to high schools. And two of my uncles were educated in Uganda. One of them went to Busoga College, Mwiri, and another one went to Kisubi.
Kisubi Seminary. That's Entebbe Road, isn't it?
No, there's a second school there.
Yes.
Kisubi. St.
Yes.
Smack.
Not seminary.
Saint
Smack.
Mary's Kisubi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that one. So,
St. Mary's College Kisubi.
yes,
Smack.
exactly. So that is one of my uncles. After that, he became a laboratory technician at Makerere before he went to America for further studies. My uncle, who was at Busoga College, Mwiri, Apollo Milton Obote's school as well. So when he came back to Kenya, he trained as a teacher. Then he went to America also for further studies. So Uganda was a springboard. What am I saying? We didn't have fast borders as such. We had interaction between the three territories, including Zanzibar, and some Malawians also went to school here in Uganda at Makerere. People like David Rubadiri, the African thunderstorm.
David who?
Rubadiri from Malawi.
Rubadiri.
Yes,
Rubadiri.
Rubadiri.
David Rubadiri. So Nyerere, Julius Kambarage Nyerere, went to Makerere. Oginga Odinga went to Makerere. Chief
The father of
Raila Odinga went to Makerere. So what am I saying?
What about this other president?
Mwai Kibaki.
Mwai Kibaki.
Makerere.
Anyang' Nyong'o.
And the governor of
Who
Kisumu
is Anyang' Nyong'o?
is
He's
the
a
governor of Kisumu, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, a great friend of Ambassador Olara Otunu. So he was the president of the student guild at Makerere, Anyang' Nyong'o. When he left, other prominent East Africans, we call them East Africans, but in this case a Ugandan, was Ambassador Olara Otunu. He became the president of the student guild at Makerere. So, why am I bringing all this? There was the missionary education, schools sponsored by missionaries. Maseno was sponsored by Church Missionary Society. That is the Anglican Church of Kenya. King's College Budo had Anglican influence, not Catholic, but Anglican influence. Now, when Olara Otunu visited Kenya last year in January, he asked Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o to facilitate his visit to Maseno School. And
Anyang' Nyong'o is still alive.
You
he
very
is the
much.
current governor.
Of Kenya.
Of course, for you to be a governor, you must be still alive.
Of Kisumu County.
Okay.
Yeah, in Kenya we have 47 counties, and each county has a governor, elected governor. So he facilitated Ambassador Otunu with his driver, staff, Nini, and they looked for someone who knew Maseno well, and they came to me, and I took Ambassador Olara Otunu on a tour of Maseno School. I asked him, why do you particularly want to see Maseno? He said, because it is the equivalent of King's College, Budo, in Uganda. Church-sponsored, that's CMS, Church Missionary Society. So when I took him to Maseno, we went straight into the school chapel. Okay? Because the chapel used to be the center, the nerve center of Western missionary education. Okay? And that is where they taught you. That is where they taught you that your indigenous knowledge systems, African spirituality, all those things, you should leave them behind and adopt the Gospels and the Apostles' Creed. Now, we are now retracing our footsteps backwards and try to reclaim the ancestral wisdom of Kabalega, okay, or the Chabazinga. I'm giving those because they are rulers, or those early people. You know, we are now reclaiming our lost identity. I'm not saying that Western missionary education was totally bad. No, but the the philosophical foundations, the epistemological foundations of our ancestors, of our proverbs, of our sayings, of our riddles, of our stories, legends and myths, all these things, they count.
So, thank you so much, comrades. We meet next week, same place, same time. Andrew Irumba Katusare is your speaker.
Free your mind now. Be part of the People's Pan-African Parliament. The Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusare.